All right, and we are live for the first official scheduled stream for PeteMakesGames.com. And let me just go ahead and send that post at Blue Sky telling all y'all that we are now live. Cool. So, excuse me. I have decided to try to take this a little bit more seriously than I have in the past. You can tell that I'm taking it seriously because I have a heart-shaped ring light in both of my glasses, both of my lenses right now. That's the best ring light I could find on short notice, and not the best, but it is better than nothing. And we're going to go with room 21. And this room, I have kind of a symmetry built into it, especially on the floor. So on the floor, I have this panel, this platform. I'd originally had two platforms, but that was before I changed girl's jump height to make it a little bit easier for her to jump. And now, for right now, we are going to have a platform that she will not quite be able to reach. And I think we all know that in Metroidvania world language, a platform you cannot quite reach is a platform that you just cannot reach yet. Now you're going to see me make a lot of these platforms that are kind of high up and appear to go nowhere. That's because, as I'll show you in a moment, this game is actually going to be in darkness, and there's going to be robots that cast light cones, which all of a sudden gives players this choice. Do I try to speed through the game and get a fast time, a la the various endings of Metroid, or do I take my time and make sure that I see everything and don't get hit? Because girl starts out with 5 health. But up here on these platforms that appear to go nowhere, that is where a patrol robot would be whose light cone is patrolling back and forth. At least that is the plan. All right, so door left has to go back to, we're in room 22, so it has to go back to 21. And door right, since we're in room 22, door right would go back to 23. Let's save this scene, and we'll test it here in a moment. So that's kind of one of my underlying design philosophies that I want for Girl and the Synthetic Dream. This idea of risk versus reward with the darkness. Do you play it slow and methodically and risk getting a bad ending, but you make it through? Or do you take chances? Or, ideally, would you first go through slowly, figure out where everything is, and continue to go towards a better ending a lower time? I'm not saying that I expect this to ever be a speedrunning, mainstay, but it would be nice if people did try to work on speedrunning it to break various sorts of records. There we go. Now we have our left and right exits, and for this room there are no other exits. Now I can already tell that there's going to be an issue with this room, And that issue is girl will be able to jump from here to here pretty easily and here to here. If she falls, she can come around here and do some wall jumps. I just wonder how big of a choke point this is. But I don't know if that's an issue. I do know what I want to do is I want to lift this whole thing up a bit. So girl, if she's fast, she can jump up here. But if not, she'll be able to jump from here to here to here over, or do the wall jump. Yeah, I like that. And that is room 23. That vertical tile set without those borders is really bothering me. And I'm doing my very best not to let it get to me. But something that you'll find out about me if you spend even 5 minutes with me is if something's not perfect, it's might as well be trash. At least for me. I'm real good at not worrying about perfectionism in others, but really worrying about it for myself. So I'm just going to go on to the next room, which after 23 is, you guessed it, boom, 24. Now I've got my exits. Let's go back to this layer. Remember, if it's a platform that looks kind of out of place, it generally means that there's going to be an enemy there whose sole purpose is to illuminate part of the map so you can see it at different times to get your bearings. And I'm going to do a little bit of, actually that's not the one I want. This is the one I want. Make some pillars. And that is a good looking pillar, if I may admit. I normally am not the one to brag about my art, but it does certainly feel like I have an affinity for, Game Boy pixel art. Not saying I'm great at it, not saying I'm the greatest at it, but I am saying I'm not too darn bad at it. Okay, I'll make a little overhang here to where you could easily bonk your head if you're not careful. All right, that is how I have that room envisioned. So let me mark it as done in Sprite. Now 25 is going to be one of those rare rooms where there are exits on all 4 sides. I need to design this room in a very particular, very certain way that I'm sure I'm going to have to play test and play test and play test. And even after I've play tested and play tested and play tested, somebody, out of a sheer sense of speedrunning spite, as I call it, will figure out a way to break it. And honestly, I kind of think that there is a point of pride in being able to say, hey, somebody cared enough about my game to break it. So I need to make it to where you cannot jump over this until you get the high jump. And I think that ought to do it. And press left as hard as I can. And hopefully not hit that platform, because if I do, that breaks the sequence. So well, the sequence has been broken. All right. Yes, cannot hit it. So now this is room 26. So let's build this weird looking room. All right, there and there. So now you can see why we had those two exits, because it's going to force the player to go down, then around, then back up. And oh man, I love it when I manage to make tiles that fit together nicely. I rarely do that on the first try, but those are so pretty together. I just need to sit for a moment and be really proud of myself. All right, moment over. Let's get back to work. Okay. Jump, 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 up. All right, that's cool. Let's run it from room 17. I really got to admit, I like that little animated sprite of her running and jumping and falling. Yep, fell through that, moved through that again because it's not wired up properly, which is fine. This time just fall straight through, Pete, and there you go. And oh no, girl's trapped. Thank you all for joining me. You can find me at twitch.tv/pshoemate or at pshoemate.bsky.social over at Blue Sky. I will see you all next time. Thank you and goodbye.